Welcome to Food Talk for Health. Here is your host, Tonia King.
Joining me today is author Dan Corrigan. Today we're talking about the brand new book, Eat Well, Supplement Well, Digest Well. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Oh, sure thing. It's a pleasure to be here.
First of all, is this your first book?
This is my first book.
A nonconformist approach to optimal health. Your story that I started reading sounded pretty interesting. How did we get to this point of producing the book? Tell me about what you do.
I guess began in my 20s when my health went on a downward spiral. And so I guess I was forced into this life that I live right now. I started getting more and more health symptoms, negative health symptoms during my 20s. I had extremely low blood sugar. My day would start off with the blood sugar around 50. And if I didn't eat massive amounts of food, it would drop below 20. And my handy dandy blood sugar meter would say, seek immediate emergency medical attention, because that's pretty bad. I weighed about 130 pounds at 6 feet tall. So I was skinny as a rail and eating massive amounts of food and struggling with my health. And so I kept adding new symptoms. I started to become lactose intolerant. I thought I was allergic to a guy at work named Al. He walked by and I would start sneezing, and I realized Al says, well, it must be my cat. And I'm thinking, well, I was never allergic to cats before. So I developed new and interesting symptoms. I would get food poisoning often when I went out to dinner. So it was really a miserable life, and it only was getting worse. And so I did what any normal person would do, would go to their doctor to get fixed, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, the doctors didn't have an answer. So I went from doctor to doctor, and they would do, the regular blood tests and say, hey, everything checks out, everything looks good. And meanwhile, I'm thinking like I'm struggling to get through each and every day. And this went on for about 10 years. And so during that time, I learned a lot. So I would, seek more and more alternative health solutions. I had a cupboard full of supplements. I was seeing all sorts of different practitioners. And then I actually went to different types of training and workshops and became certified in different types of healing techniques just out of desperation. And so anyways, the long and short of it was I spent 10 years on my own health journey, and I learned a lot. But basically, I wanted to give back and share everything that I learned, because I knew other people could shorten their journeys, and they wouldn't maybe have to suffer as long as I did.
But what is it that worked? You talk about your health and your problems, and so you went on your own journey. What did your own journey discover?
Yeah, so I discovered a lot of things, and really bizarre in my case was I had teenage years when I was trying to gain weight like every teenage boy, lifting weights. I had dropped a weight and it hit my ankle, and I didn't think anything of it. But in Chinese medicine, which I learned, 10 years later, was at your ankle, there's a spleen meridian point. And when I block that spleen meridian point, the spleen meridian controls the absorption of nutrients. And so it was a bizarre 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million chance that happened. So what happened as a result was, I was absorbing nutrients. I came across a guy that, kind of figured that out and used the acupuncture treatment on my ankle, and it cleared the blockage. And so the interesting thing about my story was, so I was trying all these things over 10 years, nothing would work, right? When they cleared the spleen meridian, and I didn't think anything of it until 2 months later, my pants were a little tight. I'm like, that is odd. I never could gain weight,
Right.
And so I stepped on the scale and I gained 60 pounds in 60 days. And I'm like, so
That's bizarre, huh?
most people probably noticed gaining 60 pounds. I had to step on the scale. And I'm like, oh my God, I gained 60 pounds. Then I tested my blood sugar that day, and it was 80. It was normal, basically.
Right.
And I'm like, holy cow, I don't need to eat 10,000 calories a day. So I had some bizarre thing that got cured, but 10 years of eating 10,000 calories a day, it destroyed my gut. It was just not capable of handling massive amounts of food. And so I had a lot of lingering gut health issues. So I still had lactose intolerance. I still had, different types of symptoms. And so then my focus shifted to healing my gut. And that was one of the big things was I learned about gut and psychology syndrome diet from Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. I learned about the Dr. Weston A. Price, who was a dentist in the 30s, taught about real food. And he was considered the Isaac Newton of nutrition. And so his story is unique. And that's one part of my book is the Eat Well chapter or section is really based on the work of Weston Price. And he called it the foods of commerce, which was white sugar, white flour, refined vegetable oils, canned and processed foods. And we call it really today the standard American diet, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He discovered that when people switch from their traditional diets, if you will, over to the foods of commerce, that's when they started having all these myriad of health problems. And the teeth dental health was just kind of like a window inside their overall health. And it wasn't just eating what was local to them. There was really three common traits that the people ate. He really was thinking that what he really found was the diets were rich in fat-soluble vitamins, so rich in vitamin A and D and so on and so forth, rich in minerals. They had both animal protein and plant foods. So if somebody was eating just mostly animal or mostly plant, those were not as healthy as somebody that was eating just a variety. And so really the key boils down to is eating real food is really the long and short of it.
That's the bottom line. Yeah.
Yep.
So how did you get into the supplement business?
So the first thing I did after I went through my journey and then finally healed myself, I'm like, I'm going to share my message and with other people. I started giving talks to the autism community. I'm going to share my information, give free talks, just in my spare time. And the first thing at the end of my talks, a lot of times people would say, well, can you recommend, vitamins or supplements for us to take? I didn't have anything to recommend. I was just like, here, I'm just trying to empower people with information. Right?
Well, were you already taking supplements yourself, though?
I had tried many different types of supplements. Some of them didn't do anything for me. So I kind of shifted my focus of just providing information, because that's really what this book is about. My book, Eat Well, Supplement Well, Digest Well, is really to empower optimal health. So I kind of shifted a little bit to focus on vetting supplements and selling what I thought was the highest quality supplements. And I started doing that. And then immediately I would get feedback from the autism community that I was selling to. They immediately said, hey, oh, my kid is, sensitive to this ingredient or this filler. Can you find something else? And so I kind of went back and looked, and I realized there wasn't really super clean products that were readily available in the marketplace. And so in 2009, me and my two partners launched a probiotic supplement that addressed all the needs that we heard, from being hypoallergenic, didn't have prebiotics in it. It was just pure probiotic and avoided certain strains of bacteria that caused negative symptoms. And so that's really where we started was really we knew you couldn't regain health unless you addressed the gut first.
Well, that's true. So then is that when you started Organic 3?
Yep. Organic 3 was started in 2009. And we launched a pure probiotic powder. And subsequently, we rebranded to Smidge small batch supplements. And so that product, that's still one of our number one products is the sensitive probiotic powder. It's a pure powder. We avoid strains that would cause histamine issues or D-lactic acidosis, things that people aren't in maybe always, they're not front of mind of people. When people think of probiotics, they think, oh, this is healthy, good for you, and then they think all probiotics are going to be helpful. But if you have a impaired digestive tract, some strains can cause negative symptoms. And so that's not a very much well talked about subject. Is the more injured your gut is, the more you have to pay attention to which strains you start off with.
But most people really don't have any idea what to take. Most people don't have any idea about the different strains. I mean, they could read the label and it's like, okay, well, maybe this will work. You really don't know unless you try it, right?
Right. And the way that most people approach, which I can't knock them for it, I do the same thing, is that if you like really get into it, you'll say, oh, this strain is good for this. And so you say, I want that benefit, so I'm going to take that strain. What is not shared really is, okay, that strain might produce a benefit, but it may increase your histamine. And then if you had histamine issues, then you would amplify those. So the neatest feedback that we've gotten, and it's a recurring theme, is somebody will come to us and they'll say, I literally tried 20 different probiotics and they all made me feel worse. I don't know why, but when I tried Smidge sensitive probiotic, it was the first one that worked and made me feel better. And they have no idea what it is, but that was really all the research and feedback that we got, from our customers, was avoiding all the problematic strains.
And that is so important, especially if it works, if it makes people feel better. That's the number one thing. There's so many different supplements out there. Are they third-party tested? Are there fillers? It's what's inside that makes a difference.
Totally, 100%. And so we started with the digestive supplements, and then later on we added some real food supplements. So we're a big fan of sourcing and processing. And so it's not just what's on the label. A lot of people look at the label. Does it have 100% of my RDA? We want people to read the label, say, where is this product sourced from? Where are the ingredients from? How are the ingredients processed? Is it all natural? Is it third-party tested? Is it tested for potency, for contaminants, and so on and so forth? So from our perspective, vitamins are created in living creatures. So you either plants or animals. They shouldn't be developed in the lab, because if you make them in a lab, they're kind of similar to the real vitamin, but they're not going to have the cofactors, other phytonutrients. Dr. Royal Lee, he's considered the father of holistic nutrition. His belief was a real vitamin isn't a standalone chemical, it's a whole complex of substances working together. And so the vitamins that we carry are whole food vitamins. So we have beef liver, which is really nature's multivitamin. It's got, vitamin A, B vitamins. It has naturally occurring minerals in their bioavailable form. We have Kakadu plum, which most people never heard of. It has the highest source of vitamin C, and then it has a bunch of phytonutrients. So the vitamins we carry are all sourced from the highest quality, most nutrient-dense sources. And then great care is taken during processing to retain the fullest amount of the nutrients. So we have the digestive supplements, and then we have the real food vitamins as well. Goal of the book was really to empower people. So you can question me, you should question me, you should question everybody. and that's where the nonconformist approach to optimal health is really, it's good to take a pause, take a step back, question everything.
We are talking with author Dan Corrigan about the brand new book, Eat Well, Supplement Well, Digest Well. How do we find you on social media to learn more about the book and what you're doing and your company?
It's Eat Well, Supplement Well, DigestWell.com. And there you'll find a link. You can go to Amazon to buy the book. But if you go to the website, Eat Well, Supplement Well, DigestWell.com, you'll have the links for my social media, so you can follow me there.
Dan, I appreciate your time today, and I wish you lots of luck with the book and all of your supplements.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
I'm Tonia King. Thanks for listening to Food Talk for Health today. If you like what you hear, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'd love it if you'd leave a rating or a review so that others can discover the show as well. And be sure to share with someone who might benefit. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Food Talk for Health is produced by Creative Voice and Media. Our theme was written and performed by Rick King. Thanks for listening to Food Talk for Health.